Should Eagles fans be worried after this loss?
No, because when you looked at the schedule, this is why you didn't trade Nick Foles. You needed a guy to keep you afloat. When you looked at the schedule, the first 4 games looked soft except for one game, and that was the Falcons game. And they got lucky and got past the Falcons. They got a little lucky, and Nick Foles had them at 1-0. In the one game, you thought, they might lose that game. It turns out the Bucs, without Jameis Winston holding them back, are quite good. And after week 1, we looked at that and said, whoa, wait a minute. That Bucs game is much tougher than we originally thought. Maybe they lose that one. And they did. So they're 1-1. But, we thought they'd maybe lose the first, win the second, it round up vice versa. But they're 1-1. Their next 2 games are not especially difficult. And Carson Wentz is coming back. They're going to be fine. The real issue with the Eagles is injuries, like Jason Peters. What does that mean for his play this season? That kind of stuff, injury stuff to key players on the team should worry the Eagles, as it does with any team. I'm a Giants fan, and before they were 0-2, Olivier Vernon, what does that mean for the pass rush? Stuff like that. But Carson Wentz is coming back, and they're 1-1, which is right about where they should be. They're going to be fine.
I think there's reason for concern. But it's not because of Nick Foles, because we all know that Nick Foles was just supposed to try to hold down the fort until Carson Wentz arrived. Now, they only scored 39 points in 2 games. And obviously, you think with Carson Wentz, their offense would have been better. The reason why I feel they should be concerned is because of that defense. I know it was against Deshaun Jackson and O.J. Howard and Mike Evans. But my God, the show that Ryan Fitzpatrick put on against the Eagles, passing for 402 yards against the Eagles, that would concern me because why? The Eagles are like 27th against the pass, man. This is the number. Last year, they were one of the top-ranked teams against the run. Shutting down the run has not been a problem for the Philadelphia Eagles. The problem has been with their secondary. And here's what really, really alarms me. Whether it's Brandon Graham or Fletcher Cox and those boys, Damien, we know they can get after the quarterback. We know that. So it's not like, the quarterback is effective against you because they got all day to pass, step back in the pocket, taking pictures, calling their wives or girlfriends and saying, excuse me, I'll be home at such and such a time before they throw a damn pass. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about quarterbacks getting rid of the football, or in this case, Ryan Fitzpatrick, getting rid of the football and launching against the Eagles secondary. We're talking about poor tackling on a part of the Eagles secondary as well. Because O.J. Howard, there's no way he should have ran for that touchdown. He should have scampered down the left sideline for that touchdown the way that he did yesterday. There are at least 3 missed tackles that I saw there. So I look at that with the Philadelphia Eagles, and that has caused the pause because when you look at the elite teams in the NFC or the potential elite teams, you talk about the Rams, you're talking about Atlanta. We put them up there even though they didn't show up in week 1. We're looking at New Orleans, of course, with Drew Brees. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers. If you can't defend in the secondary, you are going to fall. That is the problem with the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
Listen, I agree with you. I think there's some issues that they had to work out with defensively in their secondary. But here's the thing. Anytime you get a quarterback that arguably you could say before the injury was a league MVP. You get him back in that offense, it's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
Not only on the field, but I'm telling you, in the locker room, the morale, because guys are going to rally and be like, we got our guy back. Okay? The playmaking ability that he brings not only with his arm, but just off-schedule plays. That's going to be a huge difference for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. Listen, the defensive stuff, they're going to work those things out. As those guys, especially the guys up front, the pass rushers, as they continue to get more pressure, I don't think you'll see the prolific performances that opposing quarterbacks have had against the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think when you bring Carson Wentz back, that's going to be huge for that Philadelphia offense.
My only issue with what you're saying, Damien, is that this quarterback that you have in place that's just a backup, you certainly didn't let that hold you back from winning a Super Bowl championship. You won a Super Bowl championship with this dude. So my point is, you just won the Super Bowl with him. Why should Carson Wentz being out have such a devastating effect on morale, or why should it be such a big lift when the guy that's in there in his place delivered the Super Bowl championship and the Super Bowl MVP?
Well, Nick Foles is a streaky quarterback. Would you agree Nick Foles is a streaky quarterback as well?
I would agree with that.
Right, and we saw what happened last year. He got hot. There's no question about that.
I'm just talking about the effect you said was going to have on team morale.
Damien, he's 1-1 against 2. As it turns out, they've played 2 really good teams, and they're 1-1. Like he beat the Falcons week 1.
Yeah.
Listen,
so
you talk about the NFC. 1-1 NFC East, where a division that's based like a toss-up, I'll take my chances on Philly.
Yes, so would I.